Okay, it is 7 o'clock, and I'll call our meeting to order. And Kevin, would you call the roll, please?
Mr. Babcock?
Here.
Mrs. Sweet?
Here.
Mr. Bear?
Here.
Mr. Whitaker?
Here.
Mrs. Fogel?
Here.
Mr. Hannah?
Here.
All members of council are present this evening, so if everyone would please join me in pledging allegiance to our flag.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Well, let me welcome everyone. It's good to see bodies out there again. It's been a while. This is the regular session of the Enon Village Council, and this is Tuesday, April 13th, 2021. Do we have any additions to our agenda this evening?
Yes, sir, Mayor. I'd like to request a executive session at the end of the meeting, please. It would be for the possible purchase of property.
Okay, executive session for land acquisition. Are there any other additions? Okay, so at this time, I'm going to turn things over to our police chief, Mr. Michael Holler. Mike, you've got a little bit of background on a new recruit that we have, a new part-timer, so I'll kind of let you give the background for him.
Yeah. Thank you, Mayor. Good evening, everyone. Tonight we have a new hire, Preston Cantrell. He's from Enon here, graduated in 2020, Clark State Police Academy, and he's been waiting to be sworn in as a police officer officially, and we welcome him up, bring him on up and do that.
Chief, you want to come up as well?
Sure.
Preston, you want to bring some of your family? It looks like you've got actually all of your family.
Yeah,
but
just
they can come up.
Hey, Mayor, they can stand in front of that podium. They'll get on the microphone then.
Stand here.
So that microphone picks them up.
Okay. Let's see if we can get like this so we can get that part. All right. You got, come on up.
Yeah, if you want to
Anybody else
circle around in there,
wants to
you can.
participate?
Where do you want me at?
Right across. Get that right in there. There you go.
Here, I'll get on the other side.
Oh, yeah. He does get a,
That's
he's got to do a swear in
everybody
there.
situated there.
Not picture time yet, just gonna swear in first, then you can, well, you mean you can take pictures
Okay,
whenever.
everybody good? Now, listen, before we get started, I've known the Cantrell family for a long time, and the first time, back when I was in high school, I had a little fender bender out at Greenon in the parking lot, and my dad said to come to your dad, to your grandpa at CNC Body Shop, and that's how long that I have known the family, and I'm sure that your grandpa will be very proud. Are you ready to do this?
Yes, sir.
All right, well, we've already done it once, so this is the second time. Okay, raise your right hand, and Preston, you're gonna repeat after me. I, Preston Cantrell,
I, Preston Cantrell,
do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
that I will support the Constitution
that I will support the Constitution
of the United States of America,
of the United States of America,
the Constitution
the Constitution
of the State of Ohio,
of the State of Ohio,
the codified ordinances
the codified ordinances
of the Village of Enon,
of the Village of Enon,
and will faithfully, honestly,
honestly,
and impartially
and impartially
discharge the duties
discharge the duties
of police officer
of police officer
of the Village of Enon,
of the Village of Enon,
Clark County, Ohio.
Clark County, Ohio.
So help me God.
So help me God.
Congratulations. Take your hand.
Congratulations, Preston.
Thank you very much, Council.
Typically, the office will be able to shake hands with everybody. We'll skip on that part tonight.
Hi, Colleen.
Hasn't changed it. I don't know where it's at. What?
Thank you.
You can stay.
Paul, you're welcome to stay.
You're welcome.
I have no axe to grind. She's already changed my question, so I'm just a visitor.
Okay, that's great. We're glad to have you.
Thank you.
And we got Elmer in the back. Come on up, Elmer.
Take a seat. Sit down next to it. Oh.
So let's go into approval of minutes, and this would be the minutes from the Thursday. No, that's public service. That'd be Tuesday. What was that last
March
meeting?
20th.
March 23rd.
March 23rd. Thank you, Jeremy.
I'll move we accept the minutes as presented.
I'll second.
And call the roll, please.
Mr. Babcock?
Yes.
Mrs. Sweet?
Yes.
Mr. Bear?
Yes.
Mr. Whitaker?
Yes.
Mrs. Fogel?
Yes.
Mr. Hannah?
Yes.
So those minutes are approved as presented. Let's go into the finances, and Laura has prepared the monthly bank reconciliation for the month of March. And we've got our cash summary by funds also listed there. We've got receipts. Revenue status. The delay, and they will be in our April statements, the delay for the first half of real estate taxes was due to the fact that there was an extension given to make payment on those. But those have been received, and those will show up in our next month's balances. Do we have any questions about Laura's financial report? If not, I would entertain a motion to approve the bank reconciliation for March.
So moved.
I'll s-
Call the roll, please.
Mr. Babcock?
Yes.
Mrs. Sweet?
Yes.
Mr. Bear?
Yes.
Mr. Whitaker?
yes.
Mrs. Fogel?
Yes.
Mr. Hannah?
Yes.
Okay, financial report has been approved. Are there any communications from council this evening? All right, I'll go right into staff reports. Kevin, I'll turn it over to you. Good
All right.
evening.
Thank you, Mayor, Council, residents. First item on my agenda there is the phone system. The phone system has been switched over from AT&T to Spectrum. We just had one little glitch with the water treatment phone that Spectrum thought all the phones were in this building, and naturally the water plant has a phone, so we had to write up a new order for that. So that phone system was down for a few days, and the alarms were, but everything's hooked up now. They ran a new line into the building. They didn't want to use the old line, the old coax line, things like that. But rest assured, that's all fired back up and ready to go. So we are switched over to Spectrum now. So item number 2, the food truck update. We got an email from Heather that the food trucks are going to start Wednesday, the 21st. We do have a meeting tomorrow, 9 or 10 o'clock with Heather, just so we can all be on the same page and she can see the new application and go through that process and make sure trash is taken care of and social distancing, things like that. So we will be talking to her so everybody's on the same page when we start this. So I don't know if you guys had any questions for her, for tomorrow.
I do have one comment. I did receive a call from Charlie Patterson just to clarify that festivals are now permitted, right?
Mm-hmm.
So, and we did get clarification via an email. Festivals are permitted. However, you still have to follow CDC guidelines. So you still have to have the masking, the distancing. Groups of 10 are permitted, but larger gatherings are not. So if people come and get their food and go home, or if they want to be in groups of 10 or less, then that would be fine.
Yeah.
So
And while we're on that, Kevin, for council, I would like to throw it to y'all for consideration of, in maybe before it's all over, in the terms of a motion, that we possibly forego the food truck cost or the fees for this calendar year only for right now. And based off of good faith for the village and the food trucks and the general population, I don't know how my fellow council people would feel about that, but if that would be something we would be interested in, I would go ahead and go ahead with the motion if there's any other consideration.
I would fully agree. I think it just shows, we've been in favor for it since it was brought up at the beginning of the year, and couldn't really get around it other than spreading them out, having different landowners have a food truck at each one, and that hasn't happened yet. And it's starting to get nice. I thought it was a great thing for the village last year. I'd be all for waiving the fee for the calendar year.
Would anybody be opposed of it?
I have a question. If you're going to waive their fee, you're going to waive fees for parades and for other events.
I can't hear you, Brenda, I'm sorry.
I'm sorry, you're going to waive fees for the parades and other events that might come up through the rest of this year.
Maybe we hold on to that until the time comes, possibly. I don't know what else would,
It's just,
I don't know we're going to be having a parade this year, but that's, might be getting ahead of ourselves if we're going to have that. Anybody have any idea?
I don't know.
I think in my opinion or thoughts, you just got to be. There's only a couple vendors that are from town. Most of the vendors are out of town, so they come in and naturally they don't pay taxes like other businesses do and things like that. So that's just something to think about. And she is going to be charging them, I think, $50 to set up. So it's just something to think about.
I don't have a problem with it, and Kevin and I did talk about it, and Kevin, those are really good points. These vendors are coming from outside, they're coming into our village. And I thought about the other side, the number of people that reap the benefit from that. They're able, village people, the Enon community, the people that are able to enjoy that and to do it safely. So I hear what you're saying, and those are legitimate not concerns, but legitimate facts, I guess. But I just don't think this year, I don't think it's going to be that big of a deal.
And on top of that, they would still have to do the permits to, as
Yes,
normal, the only thing
yes,
would be
absolutely.
for the waiving the fees for this particular year. And
So there is going to be manpower that would be involved from the village to go through and make sure everything is in line. And we would just waive the cost of the permits.
Okay. I'll make a motion that we temporarily suspend the collection of fees for the food trucks for the calendar year of 2021, specific, though, to the food trucks at this point.
I'll second.
Is there any further discussion? Anybody? Okay, call the roll, please.
Mr. Babcock,
No.
Mrs. Sweet,
No.
Mr. Bear,
Yes.
Mr. Whitaker,
Yes.
Mrs. Fogel,
Yes.
Mr. Hannah.
Yes.
That motion passes 4-2. So that'll go into effect immediately.
All right. In your packets, item number 3 in your packets is the 2021 water and sewer rate survey that for the area of villages and towns and counties. And so you can kind of see where everybody lies with their water and sewer rates for the year 2021.
Kevin, even with those increases, we're still, 1, 2, 3, 4th from the lowest
Sure. Yep.
with the increases that we've had the past, is it 4 years, 3 years?
I think it's 3.
And we're right in there. Union's so low, but we're right in there with Oakwood, Claremont County, real close to them. And when you look at all the improvements that we're doing and we're still that low, I think that's testament to the good job that you guys are doing.
And next is the mayor's court report for the month of March. There was a total of 10 cases, 8 traffic and 2 criminal. Funds received, $1,960. Year to date, $3,950. Or that was on the fine. Excuse me. Total funds received was $3,665. Year to date, $7,890. Funds dispersed. Total remitted to the state was $499. Year to date, $1,015.50. Let's see. Total remitted to the village in the month of March was $3,151, and year to date was $6,840. Any questions on that?
Okay, we'll need a motion and a second to approve.
So moved.
Second.
Call the roll, please.
Mr. Babcock?
Yes.
Mrs. Sweet?
Yes.
Mr. Bear?
Yes.
Mr. Whitaker?
Yes.
Mrs. Fogel?
Yes.
Mr. Hannah?
Yes.
All right. Let's see. I added a few things. In your packet, you see I made a copy of the logo that Jason and I was talking about. I know initially we were talking about something for the Cardinal tank. The painter is at the point right now where he needs a decision what's going to be on the tank because he needs to order the paint. They're still sandblasting and priming the tank, but he's close to ordering paint right now. We give, just as an idea, we give him the new logo, and he called me back today with a few concerns and then naturally a price. We just give him this to say, okay, what would it be just for this, for example? He said this logo, a circle on a circular tank, he doesn't suggest it, for one thing. He said if we did, this outer circle would have to go. You couldn't see it. These outer words would have to go. They'd be too small. You can't read them from the ground. He has a problem with, there's just a lot going on with this particular picture up on a big tank. He said you could maybe paint a band, like this blue color around, and then put Enon, and then maybe established 1850 on the opposite sides, or however. But just to give you a cost on this is 5 colors. It's $375 a gallon per color. So you'd have little close to $2,000 just in this with 5 colors. So, but he's at the point, and he doesn't suggest that logo, a round logo on a round tank. So, but he is at the point where he's needing to order some paint. So we need to decide if anything's going to go on that tank, so he can, for one, order the colors that we want, and however many colors, and then so he can design it and give us a price.
I think it needs to be marked this time. That's my opinion. I think it needs to have Enon on it.
Need to be what, Tim?
Marked. It needs to have Enon on it this time.
I kind of like your idea of the band across there and just Enon, Ohio across that.
I do too.
Be short, sweet, simple.
Very simple, very
That's-
clean looking.
Yeah, that's
Absolutely.
a band around it, and it would stand out. He thought it would be really nice.
But to leave off the lettering again this time around, I don't know. Those folks live in Enon, and I don't know that we would get any complaints, but that's what stopped it previously. And I just think this time we ought to put it on there.
I wholeheartedly agree.
What?
And I like the blue. I mean,
Yeah, I think the blue would really.
I think it would look nice.
What's the base color?
Light blue.
It's kind of like a light blue, like the tank up
Okay,
here.
then that would look nice, what y'all are saying.
Unless you're asking Sherman Williams, because, like our living room wall is soft milk. I call it off-white, but
Yeah.
Connie calls it soft milk.
So, I mean, if with council's permission, I will get a price. I'll let him know and have him kind of draw it up and get us a price. And naturally, as soon as I get that, I'll email everybody just so everybody knows what's.
Since it's a round tower, where on the tower is it going to be? Just once, twice, 3 times? Around the tower.
That's up for
I'd assume
discussion.
It would be
y'all-
a big stripe around the middle.
all the way around and then Enon on one side or two sides?
Well,
What's
is
your,
it-
what's,
is it
they usually
viewable?
do what's the busiest sides where you
Right.
can see
Right,
it, you know?
right.
So I don't
It would
know.
really be viewable from Hawk Meadows right there is
Right.
where you're going to
You
see
could,
it from.
you could almost run it on three sides because the absolute south side's not gonna have any, you're not gonna be able to see that from anywhere down
Right.
there. So you could almost triangulate it where Sunnybrook could see it.
Yes.
You could see it from Hunter Road and you could still see it from the Cardinal side.
Right,
For-
so you would need to have that information for him too for a price.
Probably three sides.
Okay.
Is there a reason we shouldn't do what we have over here to
The Apple?
make
With
them
the
look
app?
similar?
With the Apple?
I mean, I absolutely like the blue. I like the new logo.
I like the two, the Apple was done freehand,
Yeah,
so I don't know if that's,
I,
I don't know.
I'm just saying
I
for
mean,
the purpose of continuity, would it make sense to
I like your
do
idea, yeah.
something similar? But I do like what you're talking about as well.
Well, maybe you could get a price for both.
Okay.
Ask him to look at that one and see if he could get a price for both.
okay. I will call him tomorrow, have him work up a price and get with you as quick as I can to let you know. So, but other than that, the tower's going good. The work on the tower's going good. Like I said, there's still, Jason said there's still sandblasting and priming and so it's coming along well, so.
They'll be going to town on it, that's for sure. A lot of noise and a lot of activity around there.
Yeah. Okay. I did get, it's been, what did I do with it here? I did go out and get a couple quotes on power washing this building, the government center, and painting, to freshen it up, to make it look a little better. I got a quote from U.S. Painters out of Yellow Springs and Mitchell Painting out of Springfield. Their references, checked out good. And the U.S. Pro Painters came in, and this is applying 2 coats. We provide the paint, because I figure we can pick out, do the same color, but I guess it would be cheaper for us to go buy our own paint at, whatever it is, Lowe's or whatever. So apply 2 coats of customer-provided paint, pressure wash, caulk any cracks that need caulked, make any minor repairs, wire brush and spot prime on the rust on doors and windows, things like that. U.S. Pro Painters came in at $5,345, and Mitchell Painting, same thing, 2 coats, came in at $5,200. So they came in at pretty close. So
And just a little background, there's areas on this building that we've been kind of battling. We've got some of the green stuff kind of creeping in. We've got other things. We've tried to, over the years, clean it. This is the original outside that was put up in 1998 when the building was remodeled. And I asked Kevin, I said, let's see what it would cost to spruce it up, because it's starting to look a little dingy, and I don't want it to get too bad before we have to come in and do something. So,
Do we have any problem with, part of that is stucco, isn't it?
it's pretty much all stucco, yeah.
Yeah, it's almost like,
There's a material called Drive It, and a lot of times you can put that over stucco type surfaces, and it will be a long-term protective barrier for that. It's not going to be cheap, but that would be something that, if we were having problems about possible mildew, which you're probably usually going to have with stucco surfaces, it might be an option for you to look at before we would paint it respectfully.
It goes on before the paint, you're saying?
You don't paint it. It's
You don't
it's
paint it, okay.
Basically a spray surface that would be put on that.
Oh.
and this might be the Drive It, Rick, I can't remember.
Drive
will-
it.
This might be the Drive It product, I can't remember.
and can you dye that spray?
Yeah,
That way you could give it some color, but you could dye the spray.
yeah, you can make it any type of tint whatsoever, but it's a solid surface that will be there on top of it. And again, we may have did that previously,
I can't
but
remember. Yeah.
it's
I mean, you're going
very-
back in the
very
memory
durable.
banks, Rick, but, a lot of houses in Germany are stucco, and I believe it is that material that a lot of houses use in Germany to keep them pristine. So-
That took over, that's about your only option you can put across that once you start getting water damage or you start having problems with
Yes.
permeating it. So
Okay, let me contact them and see what they,
DRIVIT, I think
Yep.
is how it is. But
okay. I will contact them tomorrow and get some more information and see what's,
yeah, I'm not exactly sure where you go looking for that, but I'm sure they could.
yeah.
Oren and
I'm sure
Associates.
they know what's going on, so yeah.
It's called Oren and Associates. They're out of Dayton.
Oren?
Oren and Associates. Hmm.
You going back into your VA memory banks?
The last thing that I have on my list is the Bob White project. We had a pre-construction meeting last week with Outdoor Enterprise and Shelby Engel from the engineer's office. We signed the contracts. I need to get the contracts to Paul for him to sign, and then Laura to sign. So Laura will be coming in on Friday. Then I'll get a copy back to Outdoor Enterprise. Their projected start date is 4 to 5 weeks. They ordered the pipe, and the pipe that's the lead time on the pipe, 4 to 5 weeks. So once the pipe is in, get mobilized and start in, they think they can have the project completed in 3 weeks, weather permitting. So that's replacing the pipe, installing head walls, replacing that portion of the water main there in that construction area.
And you did get that approved for funding?
Yes.
Correct?
Yes.
Okay. Yep.
Repaving the street, putting riprap around on the banks, at the influent and effluent. It'll be nice once it's done. So, but yes, we did have a meeting, so everybody's on board. Got all the contact information and project managers, things like that, and so we're anxious to get this thing going. So,
But you are.
so I think that's all I have for now, Mayor.
Questions for our administrator? Okay, good job, Kevin. Please pass along appreciation from all of us to our workers. We met down at the parks and wanted to kind of spruce things up for our residents and for the people that use Enon Park and Galloway Park and Settlers, and they've just done a great job. The painting they've done, the mulch, it's aesthetically pleasing, and thanks to our police department, we've got safe parks where people can come and use our equipment. And there's a lot, I don't know whether you notice during the day, but I do when I'm down there. Those parks are being used tremendously. So please pass along our
I will do
appreciation.
that. Thank you.
We may want to look at putting something on our Facebook page or social media to let people know how they can reserve the shelter houses. And also there was a question on there this week about restrooms. So if we're going to put our porta potty or whatever we're going to do, we might just want to let the community know those will be forthcoming, and there is electric there, or what capabilities they have. Just early in the year, so if somebody does want to rent it, then
I know the calls are coming in. I had 2 of them this afternoon that came in to rent the shelters. So there's
quite a bit of interest the other day about it, and but primarily it was where there wasn't any restroom facilities, and I didn't really respond on it. I thought, well,
And the problem is the EPA has put an end to those restrooms on that property. However, as a backup, we have Galloway, which is,
Yeah.
quite nice place, just as convenient for the most part. And so,
Yeah, the restrooms is a situation there. They got to be 300 feet away from the wells, according to EPA, and that puts it clear over to fence row. And and you can't have one behind the playground area, because then we'd have to put in an access road for the truck to get back there and empty them, clean them, things like that. So either it's going to be up toward the front or it's going to be toward the back, and it's quite a ways away from everything. So that we're just,
it was never an issue before, but it is now,
Yeah.
unfortunately.
yeah, it is. And it's, just the EPA stepping in. So,
get the porta thrown.
Chief, I'll turn it over to you. Good evening.
Thank you, Mayor. Good evening. Evening, council and residents. Staffing update. As you see, we got a part-time officer sworn in, Preston Cantrell. We also have Tom Tyree. They're both actively uniformed up and currently in training. Officer Godwin is gone. He's left. That puts us with 4 full-time officers and our 2 part-time officers in training. So we're a little understaffed. Our body-worn cameras, Axon sent those in. Those came in last week while I was over in London. I haven't got them hooked up and activated yet, but they are in. Everything's there. They look really nice. So hopefully I can get those in service soon. Activity reports, staff didn't get that to me, so we'll have to cross that off and I will hit that at the next council meeting. I don't know. Other than that, that's
Been busy or been slow?
we have there's some new legislation that came out, House Bill 1, about some arresting some females and pregnant females and such like. Yeah, it's pretty restrictive. I know the Attorney General and legislation are trying to get some bills out to try to reword that, but it's very restrictive. So we've had to do a lot of discussion on that, some training, some videos and such, and working on policy, updating that. So it's been very busy that wise. And yesterday, evidently, there was some Facebook discussion about an incident at the school, which everything was fine. We were just taking precautions of information we got, but short of that, so far, other than that, I mean, there's only so many of us, so we're busy, but it's busy with everything. So, but we're good.
Good to hear.
But that's all I have. I'll take any questions though.
Questions for our chief? Okay.
Thanks.
Short and sweet. Thank you. We'll go into committee reports. We had our Drinking Water Source Protection Committee meeting last Thursday. Mr. Brent Huntsman, who is a hydrogeologist for the Tarrant Corporation, he was our guest speaker, if you will. He is also working with the Citizens Against Mining for the township. And Brent did an analysis of probably the latest test results of VOCs found in the water supply for about he took the most recent and then put them on a graph for I think it was a 30-year period?
Yes.
Do you remember? Yeah, about a 30-year period. Bottom line is we are still in compliance with everything. We are seeing with one contaminant a slight trend up over that 30-year period. Another contaminant, we're seeing a slight trend down. But again, all of these well below maximum contaminant levels set by the EPA. Basically, wells 1 and well 4 are clear. They have no signs. And it's just wells 2 and 3 that we will continue to monitor and keep our eyes on. We did ask our water department to increase the testing frequency of one of the monitoring wells that's located there in the park, adjacent to the production wells, and that way we can track any changes a little bit closer. None of this stuff is, you're not going to wake up one day and say, oh my gosh, look what's happened. We've been dealing with this since the 80s, and our job is to keep tracking it. And I appreciate the work that the Drinking Water Source Protection Committee does and their input. So that's where we're at. Nothing really to report that of any significance, other than we're keeping an eye on stuff.
Tim, do they require a mitigation plan? If the trend goes up, to what point do we need a mitigation plan? And then what might be that mitigation plan?
Yeah, and this has been going on, Dave, for years, and it's a great question. So we already have everything in place. If something should happen 10 years, 15 years down the road, we see an increase to the point it gets to the EPA's level, then the easiest thing we would just take that well out of service. We have an additional well field further away from that point, and we specifically located it at that point far enough away from the source. The source was from the old Muncie Corporation.
Right. When you said 2 and 3, yeah, it made sense.
Yep, so we have room to expand. The existing well that we have out there is only running at about half capacity, so we could increase the capacity of just that one well and make up the difference. We could put in 2 more wells if we had to. So eventually that, we may not be around.
We're not there
Eventually
yet.
that will not be a well field anymore.
Right.
Those wells are gonna go bad. They're gonna plug to the point that you can't rehabilitate them, and they just won't be worth keeping in operation, and we'll slowly make that transition to the new site.
But there's no way to treat the water any differently to mitigate.
Yeah, not for us to do
Okay.
that.
I just wondered.
And there was an on-site treatment back in the day at the location of the suspected source over on the Muncie property. So there was a little treatment operation that took place, and it pretty much took care of what was around there. What had left that site and come onto our property didn't really see much effect from what they were doing. So the bad part about it is that type of contamination, the VOCs, it just kind of hangs around and hangs around. So we'll just continue monitoring it. And if anything bad were to happen, we've already got our site set up and we're ready to go. So
I mean, I don't want Medway to sue Enon like Dayton is suing Ray Pat, so.
right. Are there any other committee reports?
Do you want to report for the Public Service Committee meeting?
Absolutely.
We held our meeting on Thursday, April 8th. We continued our discussion about pay scales, and it's ongoing still, and we asked for our fiscal officer to possibly attend the next meeting so we could get some information from her. And that's basically what we did in a nutshell.
Thank you for your efforts.
Okay.
Appreciate it. Let's see, we have no old business.
We still got the Parks and Beautification,
What do we have?
the Parks and Beautification meeting.
We have a sheet here.
Parks and Beautification.
Ben, do you see that?
Yeah.
Okay.
All right, Ben, I'll turn it over to you
Sure.
then.
The Parks and Beautification Committee met on Tuesday, March 23rd, before our stated meeting. And we were discussing the NatureWorks grant and some of the ideas we're going to have for that, for writing the grant. Kevin's also was going to be contacting some of our local businesses to see if they'd be interested in partnering with us to give some more leverage to that grant. We got some good input when Rick put out a Facebook post from some of the community about some really good ideas and what we could do with that grant. So I think in our next meeting, we'll probably have some more information and we'll pass that on once we get it.
Good deal. Thanks for taking on that project.
Yeah.
Appreciate it. Okay, any other committee reports? All right, we'll move on. Again, no old business, and we'll get into the Citizen and Young Citizen of the Year Award selection. I know you were all sent your packets to review the candidates, and I will just briefly go over the nominees for the 2020 Young Citizen and Citizen of the Year Award. And first of all, for the Young Citizen, I will congratulate this young lady, Mackenzie Gossett. And we just had the one nominee this year. Mackenzie is a student at Greenon High School. And I say this every year, but it never ceases to amaze me when I see some of the activities from these students. Mackenzie is a member of the National Honor Society, the Music Honor Society. She's on student council. And, well, actually, she's the class president.
Right.
Frequent blood donor. She member of Varsity G. And she is also, it looks like, a very good bowler for Greenon as well.
Yeah, I was jealous when I saw that.
So,
300.
Citizen
Wow.
of the Year.
Oh, okay, sorry.
what's the problem?
We need ballots for.
Oh, actually, I found some.
You did? Okay,
Yes,
good.
I did. So I've got sheets right here. And I'll pass those out here in just a second. Kevin, unless you want to do it.
I can do that.
So that is our Young Citizen. And let's see. There we go. Thank you. Nominees for Citizen of the Year. We have Dennis Brown. Dennis is been commander, senior vice commander, junior vice commander of the VFW. He is very active with the Historical Society in addition to the VFW. Partakes in a lot of activities associated with the society. He has, it looks like, been involved with the VFW for a number of years. And Brenda, the Historical Society, I know he helps you out quite a bit over there
They're every day.
as well, doing things for you.
So
So, very good candidate. Candidate number 2, Mr. Dennis Hoffman. Dennis has been involved in Enon Emergency Relief, again, for many years, over 17. He's a member of the Methodist Church, and he did the night soccer club. He was a coach and referee for that. I've met Dennis on several occasions, and he is truly dedicated to that Enon Emergency Relief, and you can see him down there anytime the doors are open, helping out, distributing food or whatever his need would be. Our third nominee, everybody knows, Mr. Elmer Beard. And of course, Elmer served many years with the Village of Enon, with the Mad River Township Fire Department, and we started out in Boy Scouts together. So that was a few years ago, wasn't it? So we are proud, Elmer, just like myself, we are proud Eagle Scouts. So we have 3 very good nominees for our Citizen of the Year, and we will be ready for a vote. And Kevin, I will allow you to, or ask you to, I should say, collect those, and you can tally those up.
Who's this Beard guy?
Didn't fold it up 6 times like you normally do, Rick.
Yeah, what's with that? Must be his age.
Memory's just.
All right. There was 2 votes for Dennis Hoffman and 4 for Elmer Beard.
Congratulations, Elmer. I can't give you that surprise call this year, but congratulations, well deserved. And I was thinking that we would try to have a COVID-safe ceremony based upon the feedback that I get from both recipients, if they're okay with that and their families are okay. So we'll try to figure out the logistics and make sure everybody's comfortable with doing that. So congratulations, Elmer.
I guess this means you don't have to call him and let him know.
I don't have to call him, yeah. I can, though, if you want me to. Okay, so we do have a request for an executive session to discuss land acquisition, which is covered through the High Revised Code. So we would need a motion and a second to do so.
Did you want to see if anybody wanted to call?
No,
I'm sorry.
The music's still playing, so,
Yes, thank you.
so nobody called in.
No, that's a good idea. Is there anybody called in?
No.
Paul, would you like to address council this evening?
Really,
It's good to see you, by the way. Thanks for stopping in.
I had one question, and Mr. Seifred is going to answer it. Is if I stutter a little bit, if you have any information on what the people are doing to the lot next door where the VFW used to be, they've cleared off the trees. It looks very nice. And I was wondering, because we are zoned single-family residential, and it's a big lot, and it could have 1 house or 2 houses. And my concern is that it stays single-family residential. In the past, there had been people who wanted to put a business there. But, so I was just asking if you knew what was going on about that.
I'll have to check for you tomorrow. As of right now, I don't know of anybody applying for any permits for that lot, but I can check the files and let you know.
Okay, thank you.
Yep. What's your phone number, Paul?
937-864-2358.
All right, I will check and give you a call.
And I have an answering machine, so
Okay,
if I'm not, which I probably won't be there, but the machine will have it.
okay, not a problem.
Thank you.
Thank you. Good to see you.
That's good.
Yep.
By the way, I enjoyed the meeting. I'm trying to remember all the topics you covered, because I'm going to be asked questions about what went on at the village meeting.
That's great.
Elmer Beard, Enon resident. First off, thank you for voting me in as the outstanding citizen. I didn't even realize I was being nominated, so it was a shock. So it was a surprise, Mayor.
Okay. I feel better.
And other than that, it's great to be back at a council meeting in person. So you guys have been doing a great job. Carry on.
Appreciate that.
Thank you.
Now we'll do the motion.
I'd like to present a motion to go into executive session for the consideration of purchase of property or land acquisition.
I'll second.
Can you call the roll, please?
Mr. Babcock?
Yes.
Mrs. Sweet?
Yes.
Mr. Bear?
Yes.
Mr. Whitaker?
Yes.
Mrs. Fogel?
Yes.
Mr. Hannah?
Yes.
And we do not anticipate taking any action when we come back into regular session, so. You're welcome to stay, though.
Now we're live.
So we'll need a motion and a second to return back into regular session.
So moved to come back in.
I'll second.
Call the roll.
Mr. Babcock?
Yes.
Mrs. Sweet?
Yes.
Mr. Bear?
Yes.
Mr. Whitaker?
Yes.
Mrs. Fogel?
Yes.
Mr. Hannah?
Yes.
8:10.
8:10. Thank you.
And with no further business,
Motion to adjourn?
Second.
all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Meeting adjourned.
Same time. Oh, it just changed to 8:11.
Thank you.
Kevin, can we get a quote on some shirts with the new logo off of it
I've
as soon as
got,
possible?
she did one for me just to see what it was going to look like, and I'll show you what it looked like, but then she ran some, let me close it up.
And see